So much. Okay, question number 1, and I'm reading these exactly as they were submitted. This is to Mr. Goodwin. Overly burdensome or antiquated regulatory systems generally add to the cost of doing business. Given that, how would you characterize the state of the current insurance regulatory system in North Carolina, and what changes, if any, would you propose? Mr. Goodwin.
Thank you for that question. Like with anything, we need to change with the times. We have seen a dramatic shift in technology in recent years. My goodness, we didn't have email 20 years ago, and now we have BlackBerries and satellite phones and so forth. The Commissioner of Insurance and the Department of Insurance should work closely with the legislature and strongly encourage our legislators to update the statutes every year to reflect those changes in technology. We should also do what Joe Stewart and the Insurance Federation has spoken about, the e-efficiencies, making sure that anything we can do to make things more paperless so that the press of a button, that things can be done quickly. That helps folks on the front lines who are working as agents. It also helps the consumer in keeping prices down. We can have a further discussion about the reinsurance facility and other things, but that's what I bring to this race, is that as a former legislator, as someone who's already a regulator, I'm the one who can show a proven record of getting things done. Sure, attorneys help clients, and I'm glad he helped the young woman who had a concern there, but I do it every day. And I don't get paid for each one that I help with or whatever it is, because we do this to help our small businesses, but also to help our large businesses and to help our consumers out there. I need input from the business community as to what we can do to make the market work better, to make the regulations smoother and more efficient, so we can still address that goal of a stable, competitive market where we have as few regulations as possible but still maintain the responsibility of the consumer watchdog, because we don't want to have things so deregulated that we bring in insolvent companies.
30 seconds.
And that will hurt the public. And I think the companies that are here are doing a great job. They are financially solvent, and they are doing a tremendous job of providing resources and products for the consumers of the state. We want to make sure that we do what will help them do their jobs best while at the same time protecting the consumer.
Mr. Smith, 2 minutes.
John, do you mind reading the question again? Just to make sure I understand.
Overly burdensome or antiquated regulatory systems generally add to the cost of doing business. Given that, how would you characterize the state of the current insurance regulatory system in North Carolina, and what changes, if any, would you propose?
Well, thank you. I believe that the system is overly burdensome and needs efficiencies. And there are a number of options out there to do that. One, for instance, is currently North Carolina is a member of the Interstate Compact among multiple states of the NAIC that allow limited exchange of both licensure and regulation of various companies. It is my belief that the compact ought to be expanded to allow more companies to come into North Carolina and to have a more efficient system. I do think competition is an important aspect of this. But I believe the real question behind that question is our current rate review setting process in North Carolina. And in my opinion, it is badly broken, and that's why there's a current effort underway to revise it. It is maddening to me that it would take 3 years to do a rate review process and Court of Appeals reviews of the auto insurance rate setting in North Carolina. And during that period of time, our hard-earned money goes to insurance companies to be held ultimately to get paid back as escrow. We need to find an efficient way to have that process limited to 12 months and have it be done in advance. And we can do that through legislation. We have the Commissioner's Office look at it in 5, the Court of Appeals look at it in 7, and then we will get auto insurance rates in a more reasonable time frame and without all the money that's being spent today defending the system and having to defend the decisions that the Commissioner has made. I believe there is already in the place today an inefficient mechanism where people set the rate and it's done incorrectly. I do believe the reinsurance facility needs a serious look, and I'm sure we're going to continue that conversation in a minute, but I believe that the system is overly burdensome, and we need to find a way to make it work better.
Mr. Goodwin, he used the expression badly broken. Do you want to reply to that?
Sure. I mean, this system we have is more than 30 years old, and I firmly believe that there's no perfect system out there. It has worked well up to this point, but many of the companies would agree with it. It's worked well, but we can do better. And that's why what I bring to the table is this, a proven record. I have been working with industry and the Department of Insurance and the public and the legislators on this modernization committee to try to find common ground. the only person who's been doing this in this race. That's important. And I believe we need to depopulate the facility to make sure that the bad drivers pay the worst rates and the good drivers are eligible for discounts. There is a sense of a fix needed, but it needs to be done in a measured way, because if you make too dramatic a change, it's going to hurt businesses, it's going to hurt the consumers. It needs to be done in a measured way by somebody who is trusted by our legislators and by the industry and by the consuming public, and not someone who's seen as being on one side only.
Smith?
Well, and I appreciate the one-side-only comment, because I do believe that the perception about that is inaccurate. To me, the issue is ultimately what people in this state are paying. The reality is drivers in the state of North Carolina pay about $150 more than they ought to because of the way the system is set up. And we have to make changes in that. Defending a system that's badly broken makes no sense. And if we've been working on it for so long, why don't we have a solution? The legislature's getting ready to go back into session in just a few weeks. We ought to have real ideas and real options on the table, and they're not there today. On my website, there is a specific proposal on how we address the rate review process in North Carolina, take the politics out of it, make it an efficient process, and make it happen in a way that consumers in the state of North Carolina don't pay more money than they have to, that the system's set up to work for the interest of consumers.